Mindset Mondays is going to be some developmental training to help you take your skills to the next level. And we're going to focus a little bit more on technical execution in this Mindset Mondays. But I have to make it a part of this series because it's important um, to drill down the fundamentals and aspects of just getting better in the market. So, our discussion today is dedicated to paper trading practice. Our theme is how you practice is how you play. You've heard me say that before. And I use a lot of sports comparisons because I do believe that the disciplines needed to be effective in sports translate very nicely to the market. The disciplines that you need to be successful in the market can compare to many disciplines in sports. And the reality is how you practice is how you play. So let's talk about practice and what you should be doing every day to get better in the market. Now, you can have the best, system or the best indicator or whatever you feel is giving you an edge, but unless you have time in the game, actual practice in the game, live trading, executing trades, then your progress will be slow and staggered, right? Most people listening to this now, you want to come into the market, you want to make money and be profitable and be consistent. And if we're being honest, you likely want it to happen fast, right? Even though I tell you guys it takes 3 to 5 years, you sometimes don't listen to me. You're listening to those other traders or other people on YouTube or whatever. They're telling you, oh, it takes a year, it takes, it'll happen. No. But if you want to be one of the few who see success in the market in a shorter time frame, listen up. The reality is, if you have a winning system, if you have development and training, if you have a proper network and trading community to plug in, it comes down to time in screen time, just time in the market. How you practice is how you play. All right. The quality of your training will map to the quality of your trading. I'll say it again. The quality of your training, how you train, how you practice, the quality of it will map and define the quality of your trading. Here's a little more context to that. If you know deep down inside that you do not paper trade, now we're live here, so I'm going to ask for just a little feedback in the SPY Only Options room. And if you're listening to this at a later time, I mean, you know the real answer to this, but be honest. How many people paper trade at least once a week? Let me see your hands, participation. And if you listen to this for the first time, then and you can't participate, then so be it. Yes or no? Yes or no? Come on now. It's just us kicking it. Yes or no? How many people paper trade at least once a week? All right. Here's another one. How many people at least paper trade once a day? Once a day. Paper trade once. Okay, I see some yeses, some nos in there. Yes, yes, nos. Okay. All right. I appreciate your honesty. So let me ask you something. And if you're listening to this, on your own, how do you think you're going to get better? Do you think you're going to get better by trying to hope and wish and rush trades in a live environment with real capital, max sizes, dialing in, following KD? That's going to improve your wins, yeah, for sure. But it doesn't do much for your ability, your mind to connect to your actual trading behaviors and to develop those patterns. Now I see some of you guys saying, I do now. Good. And you've been listening. Someone said, I do now after futures training. Good. All right. But the idea here is for me to help you understand that it's not reasonable to conclude that you will get better in the market, and for that matter, anything in life, if you don't put in an equal or greater amount of practice, right? I've asked this question many times. I'll continue to ask it with you guys. What do you think of a professional basketball player? Which do they do more? Does a professional basketball player have in-game live practice or live play more than practice? Or do they practice more than they have in-game live play? Right. Well, they have more practice time, much more. So let's put some numbers behind it now. We got to quantify this. Would you say it's 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, or 90-10? Which one? Which one? Yeah. It's 90-10. It's 90-10. It's 90-10. All you have to do is look at the schedule of a ball player, and not just the TV schedule or the game schedule, but you got to look at and think about their actual routine and practice and workout schedule. I mean, these guys, they play ball, and they play ball at a high level because they've practiced so much. In fact, Kobe Bryant is on record by talking about how he practices for 7-game series. He practices for the finals. He makes things very difficult for himself so that when he gets in those moments, it's just like practice. So if that's the case, if the quality of our training or our practice defines the quality of our trading, what are some things we need to do in order to improve our trading through practice? I'm going to give you 3 things to do to improve your trading through practice. All right. The first thing is you need to paper trade the Wealth Wells way every day for 1 hour. When you do it is up to you. What time slot you use, that's up to you. Some traders that I have put on trade plans have done it at the open. So from 9:30 to 10:30, they're paper trading. Some do it at the close from 3 to 4. That's fine. Others do it in the futures later in the day, some in early in the morning, others midday from 12 to. That's up to you. That's up to you. But you absolutely have to paper trade the Wealth Wells way every day, 1 hour for 3 to 5 years, along with your normal trading. Now, some of you guys have done this. You're still doing this. And I have gotten reports that it has significantly and drastically improved your trading. In fact, some of these steps that I'm going to give you are incorporated with the trade plans that I put some traders on after I build a trade identity and I know how you are. But no matter who you are, paper trading every day for 1 hour, the Wealth Wells way. Now, what's the Wealth Wells way to paper trade? Here it is in a nutshell. You trade SPY. We only trade SPY in our main channel. SPY is my bread and butter, the S&P. So that's going to be SPY, ES, SPX. Any of those 3 is fine. But we're talking about SPY, all right? So what you're going to do is you're going to identify your key levels in the market. The levels are posted in the private channel every day, so you can use my levels or your own. Then you're going to identify somewhat of a range. You know, hey, okay, the market is opening in this area here. I think we go 5 points this way and 5 points this way, or 10 points up, 10 points down. Then you go to the options chain and you get a contract. It can be a 0 DTE, super cheap, way out of the money. You're going to buy a call and you're going to queue up a call rather. You're going to queue up a put. You're going to put those in a watch list and you're just going to have them ready. Now, you should go watch my video, Use Active Trader Like This, to understand that my setup. I show you how to do that in that video. So go through my library of videos. The video is called Use Active Trader Like This for max setups or max profit. There's a part 1 and part 2. I show you my active trader screen so that I can easily get to my contracts, go long or short or calls or puts, no problem. After you do that, for the hour that you're going to paper trade, you do not care about making money. You do not care about, max profit. You don't care about, because you're paper trading. The difference is you do have real capital. It could be $8. It could be, I don't know, $2, $1, whatever it is, whatever the contract is, right? It could be $3, whatever it is. That's the price you're paying to train yourself. And what you're focused on is proper trade execution. So when you get to your level and you've got volume, volatility, price action, you've taken the training, you understand, all the components to what makes up a good trade. You can look at my A+ setups video or the other one with the 3 best setups. But once you understand all those components, all you're trying to do for that 1 hour is execute proper trades off of your levels. That's all you're doing. Now, how does this way help you instead of jumping into a simulated environment like in TOS or like in some other simulated environment? How does this way help you? Well, number one, you have real money. Although it's not a lot, you still have real money. So you get the best of both worlds, right? You've got a low amount of money, but it's still real capital. So it will invoke a little bit of emotions. You'll get to see, number two, you'll get to see the real contract behavior. You can really, sometimes in a simulated environment, you don't get the actual feel that you would in a normal contract environment, normal trading environment. You don't get the actual contract feel from the broker, not just feel for the environment, not just feel for the trade, but you may not get the actual, feel from the broker, right? So you're going to want to make sure that you get a cheap out of the money contract, trade level to level, and all you're looking to do is execute trades properly. And you do that for 1 hour. If you come out with some money, a couple bucks, fine. If you lose it, no problem. Then you'll know, hey, something's off with me. Something's not really working right. All right. So now after you do that, the next step is you're going to do your pre-market prep 1 hour prior to the market and your pre-market prep on Sundays. All right. So during your pre-market prep 1 hour prior to the market open and on Sundays, what will help you is if you also, for those of you who are in the futures, if you paper trade that environment as well. So you can paper trade before the open while you do your pre-market prep, but you want to make sure you do your pre-market prep an hour before and on Sundays. So Sundays, just like I do, you're dialed in to our weekly Zoom, you're getting your data points, and then 1 hour prior to market open, minimum, you are also doing your pre-market prep, and you could also be ready to paper trade during that time as well. And then the third thing, which I believe helps immensely, is to paper trade in times where you statistically have poor performance or you have trading fatigue. Has this ever happened to you? You're trading throughout the day, you're sitting down and you're not necessarily dialed in, and then you begin to drift mentally. And then all of a sudden a trade, boom, breaks out or breaks down and you missed the trade that you've been waiting on. It certainly happens to me and for other reasons. I'm not fatigued, but maybe I'm distracted. I'm training someone. I'm walking you guys through a trade. It happens. It happens. But has that happened to you where you miss a trade because you are mentally fatigued? Now, that happens to a lot of new traders in the backside of the day. That is one part and one reason why new traders are poor performers in the backside of the day. Because you're just not as focused, you're not as sharp, you have trading fatigue. So what are you going to do to improve that? You are going to paper trade in times where you have poor performance. You're going to look at your journal and say, you know what? I'm not good at the open. Paper trade it then. Don't say to yourself, I'm just not going to trade the open. That's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. Don't say to yourself, I'm just going to avoid this for really forever. So what happens when you avoid the open? But then the first couple of trades or throughout the trading morning, you have drawdown or you take some red trades and you're down. What happens then? You try to get the money back during a low volume time frame. You statistically do not have the highest probability of making money back in that time frame. And then the backside of the day comes. You haven't been accustomed to trading that. So now what you did was you shorten your ability to really make some money. You shorten your ability to really understand, how to trade, how to really crush this thing, right? Because your time frame is like severely reduced for how long you're going to trade. So you need to build up your endurance, right? And eliminate trading fatigue. To do that, you've got to start paper trading the Wealth Wells way during those times where, according to your trading journal, your log, you are a poor performer, or during the times where you're just tired. Trading is a job, folks. To be good at this, you need to treat it like a job. One of my mentors when I was younger told me, Katie, if you treat it like a hobby, it'll pay you like one. If you treat it like a hobby, it'll pay you like one. And what he meant was, there are people who make like paper airplanes or toy airplanes, or they make like little dolls or whatever. And they really enjoy it, or they may paint on the side. They really enjoy it. And they get paid for their paintings or their little artwork or things, time here and there. But it's not really a lot of money, and it's not full-time income. In fact, back in the day, there used to be a phrase that was applied to these artists, and the phrase was starving artist. You ever heard of that phrase? Starving artists? That phrase dictates and points to the type of person who they don't make a lot of money with their artwork or their hobby. And so in effect, they're looked at as a starving artist, someone who's really trying to make it, but it really just hasn't popped. All right. Well, listen, if you treat your trading just like that, just like a hobby, you will get sporadic growth and sporadic profits incrementally. It won't be consistent. It is impossible. It will not happen without the work. So use the 3 steps I've given you. Number 1, paper trade the Wealth Wells way every single day for 1 hour. Number 2, do your pre-market prep 1 hour prior to the market open and on Sundays, and be prepared to paper trade that time frame as well. And then number 3, paper trade in times where you are statistically poor in performance and you have trading fatigue. This will develop you and this will help you. Now, somebody said I'm a starving trader. Well, what's going to help you? Practice, get your reps in. That's how it works, folks. It takes 3 to 5 years. It takes 3 to 5 years to really get to the point where you're like, I'm coming out the day green. It takes 3 to 5 years for you to get to the point where you're like, you know what? If I miss this trade, who cares? I'll get my tea and come back and crush it. It takes 3 to 5 years for you to say, you know what? I got so many setups across the market. Man, I don't know which one to take. It's a lot. That you can see it, it takes 3 to 5 years for you not to have that nervousness, that pit in your stomach every day. Has that ever happened to you? Do you feel that way? Do you feel nervous? Oh man, I have this. Even if you're excited, you should feel, you don't feel that excited when you go into your job, do you? No, you don't. And you know it. You know it. You're going into work sometimes like, okay, I'm going to go into work. I'm going to avoid my boss for however long, for an hour or two, or, oh Lord, I've got to go and sit inside of this stupid meeting for an hour. Okay, cool. That gives me time to chill. Maybe I'll check the market. You'll sit down. You don't feel anything. You don't feel nervous. You're not super excited to go to work, and you're also not fearful. Why? Because you do it every day. This is your profession. That is how you should feel with the market. The only way to do that, you've got to practice. How you practice is how you play. Remember, the quality of your training will compare to the quality of your trading. I want to see you guys succeed and continue to crush this thing. Put into practice the things that we've suggested today on our Mindset Mondays, and you'll get to the next level. If you fall in love with the process of becoming great, you won't be average, and neither will your account. I'll see you guys in the market. KD signing out.